Hello, homies, and a very warm welcome to Homeopathy Hangout. Today, we get to hang out with the absolutely fabulous Reeta Pohjonen. Welcome, Reeta.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to see you and be here again.
It's so lovely to see you. I mean, we just got to hang out in Bali. Not even like it was just a month ago. Hey, can you believe it was just a month ago? It feels
Yeah,
like
it feels like
forever,
a
and it does.
lifetime.
Yeah, it does. I can't believe it's just a month that's passed. It feels like so much has happened. And even the conference itself was like so much incredible. Our beautiful listeners have heard over the last couple of months of us like sprinkling in here about the Unleashing Homeopathy conference in Bali. But we actually all got to meet each other. We got to hug each other. We got to hold each other. We got to cry together and laugh together and had the most amazing time. So it's lovely to get to see you online again.
Thank you so much. And I guess we're going to be speaking a little bit about the subject of Bali because my lecture was on the shamanistic remedies of the Arctic over there.
And I don't think there was a dry eye in the room when you did your lecture in Bali. I know I was bawling my eyes out. It caught me completely by surprise with one particular remedy that you were talking about. I was not expecting it and I just bawled my eyes out. And there was so many tears in the room, just people being so touched by your beautiful lecture. And oh my gosh, Janie and Reita did the most unbelievable cacao ceremony for us that opened up the conference, which is amazing, and the most beautiful closing ceremony. So it was just, oh, it's just magical. There's really no words. And then we recently got to hang out as well for the Autumn of Healing Summit. I got to interview you for that, which I mean, this episode's coming out towards the end of October, and the summit would have finished by then. Got to hang out then. And we've previously had an episode on the podcast, so people will have to listen back on that one to find out how you first discovered homeopathy and your journey. But today we're going to talk about some kick-ass remedies that you have created. So do you mind if we maybe start there?
Yeah, let's go there.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's do it.
definitely.
Cool.
Yeah. I made a kit for the beautiful organizers of Unleashing Homeopathy because I really wanted this shamanistic Arctic remedies to go to the world, or actually, they told me they want to be of service. So the initiative of this came that I wanted to pay respects because I come from up north. I'm not a Sami person, but I wanted to give respect to our indigenous people, the Sami. Not all the remedies are from up north, but for example, two of the recent ones, one that made everybody cry, which is the Arctic sea water. And we did a beautiful download with a song that we can share, or you can share it. I'll give you the link. And it tells about how women in particular manage in the cold, in the remote, on an island where there's nothing. And because we always thought of like Finland is such a rich country and so on. But actually, living here is like living in Africa in many ways because the winter is really remote, especially up north. You have to be tough ass. So I really wanted to honor these women and also the whales of the Arctic Sea because the remedy is taken from Pygeia, which is a space by the Russian border up north in Norway, not actually in Finland. It's a holy place for the Sami people. It used to be a place where the Sami witches were actually burned. And it is a place where the whales go to die. I thought that this aquamarina, because I had used it in my practice so much for letting go of a relationship and for people who love the oceans, who benefit from sea remedies, I said, we need a cold Arctic sea remedy. And it was huge on grief also. It's like it just washes away everything you don't need anymore. And then there is this kind of melancholy when you're looking for the ultimate soul partner to live your life happily ever after, and you don't find that person. What a sadness comes with it. So it's a mixture of aquamarina and natrium muriaticum. And the other one I'm dressed up for her because I love this color, as I had in Bali,
Yes, you
is
look
the
like a beautiful,
cloudberry.
what's that flower? A marigold. You had this beautiful
Yeah,
marigold dress on in Bali. It was just like perfect for where we were at. It's gorgeous.
exactly. And that is the color of the other sacred plant, or it's a berry. It's the cloudberry. That really surprised us. In Finland, we call it the gold of Lapland because it is very expensive to purchase. And it brought women to a place of no trauma, no sister wound, no mother wound, no struggles with your children. it brought us to a space where women can be abundant and women can like flourish together and support each other in a community. And it was really big with nutrition and finding your own fun and money and women's rights. I suggest it to every woman at some point. It's a perfect manifestation tool, this beautiful cloudberry. And then we have another one that is the sacred bird of the Sami people, which is the Siberian jay. It's a little brown bird with some orange on it that's known to be a beggar. So when people sit around fire, it comes and listens to stories and acts as a beggar. And what we found out, everybody lost their memory. So apparently it's an excellent tool for Alzheimer's or dementia. And of course, being a bird, there's themes of freedom, but this is like a bird that moves around in a flock. It's very social. And actually, The Great Gatsby, the movie The Great Gatsby came strongly in that, which is strange. When we do homeopathic triturations or provings, some different animals or some movies come up or some films or things like that. So The Great
Songs.
Gatsby came. And actually, the difference between rich and poor people, and the Siberian jay was the one who was begging. And we even thought about going out to beg and see how does a person who's lost their home feel? So that's the consciousness that came with the Siberian jay. And we know that Lapland is in a way rich, yes, with the reindeer. And we also have some minerals up north that we don't have down here. But in other ways, it's also it's tundra, it's quite raw. You can't grow too many things there. So there is a sense of survival and struggling as well. So those were the three that are the shamanistic of the north. And then I did some other remedies that actually the feathers, like two feathers came from Ireland. One was the snowy owl from Janie Lavelle, and the other one was the raven that was also from Ireland. But of course, the species in the north are pretty much the same. And those are remedies that have to do with this time of the year, with the dying. Raven takes you to meet the dead, and Raven is like supporting you on the journey to Valhalla or Tuonela or Hades or whatever you think. It's the messenger. Like in Game of Thrones, it's also the messenger, like the owls. So they're pretty similar. Raven is the wild card. It also helps you in places where you are stuck in a state that you have no way out. I usually use Raven or placenta, and you're back in. You're back in the business, and you see it like the bird remedies give you this bird perspective on your life when you don't attach too much to things that are tough, but then you can look at them from a different perspective. And that's definitely what the raven helps you with. And the owl is the one that really touched you because the
Yes.
owl is where the veil is thin. And when we want to work with the ancestors, with the people who've passed by, who are, our loved ones, we can communicate with them with the owl. So it's a soothing, beautiful, wise wisdom. Do you want to say about your experience?
Oh, yes. Just when you said about that remedy for, I think I said on the podcast before my mum passed away on the 3rd of May this year.
I'm sorry.
And it was, I thought I dealt with it. But when you mentioned that, I mean, for one, she is the ultimate bird lady. She had an African grey that she had for, was it 20 or 30 years or something? She always loved birds. And she particularly loved owls. And you mentioned about owls being like the teacher as well. She was a teacher for 40 years. And when you said about the veil being thin, I think it's just such a beautiful relief and such a beautiful message for somebody who has lost a loved one to know that they're not actually gone. There's actually a very thin veil. And actually, if you wouldn't mind sharing I think it was a dream or when you did a meditation on the remedy, that was actually when you said that really was what got me, just to know that they're always here with us. But if you maybe, oh, actually, I don't think I've ever shown you. Oh, no, I have shown you a photo. This is next to my desk of my mum.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it's a few years ago now. The kitties were
Beautiful.
still little, but it's actually just such a balm for the soul to know that they are there when we need them and that we can
Exactly.
use remedies to help us access that a bit better. But if you wouldn't mind sharing that story of that
Yeah.
vision or that you had when you took the remedy.
It was a dream. And I saw a dream that I was in a library, actually with Camilla Scher, because we did the trituration in Homeopathy for Health in Africa, in Tanzania. And everything, there were books and everything was like bright colors. And there was a door. And I knew I'm not supposed to cross. And so did Camilla. But of course we did, because we always go where you're not supposed to go, maybe sometimes. And I opened the door and there was a cool breeze. And we went to the other side, and I realized that this is the other side of the veil, that the door was the veil. Everything was the same. It was calmer, and it was pastel colors, so not bright at all. And it gave me such a huge relief, because 2 years before that, my son Amadeus had passed away, and I wondered, where was he? For me also, I realized I feel him on my skin. He used to blow a little cold air. That's what they say when they come and are tender with you. And I said, it's right, it's true. So the owl brought me the wisdom that actually we live with our ancestors.
That's beautiful.
So for anyone grieving and wanting to have the help, I'm sure the owl will sit with them beautifully. And I don't know about the other owls. In Finland, there's a saying that if an owl dies, it's the messages from the dead. So most probably, but I just loved the white snowy owl, because in that, I think it was quite tender.
Didn't you just like have two dead owls come across your path in the last couple of
Yes.
weeks? Because we've got a little WhatsApp group going and it's like daily messages in there. And you just recently posted that about these two dead owls.
One was Janie, who drove
Oh,
to an owl. That was the great horned owl or big eared owl or something like that. And then I went to a country cottage that's really dear to me. And the first thing we found was a dead owl, but it was so eaten, we had to find out what it was. And it was the same feathers. And yesterday I watched with my kids had Harry Potter, and I must have thought about the Sacred Source School that we are starting, because our initial thought was, how cool would it be to invite people through Owl Post?
mm,
And the owls are
oh,
here for all the Harry Potter fans out there.
that would be amazing. I'm just trying to think, were there other remedies as well that have we covered all of them?
Yes,
That's all of
yes.
them.
There are. No, there are. There are two remedies for the sacred masculine that are really great. The pine. And
Mm.
this is a pine that has grown by the sea in the winters. And it's a lot to do with our spine, with our inner strength and varicose veins and things like that. And the Mad Hatter actually showed up over there in all the rigidity. That's one. And the other bird that is also beautiful, because it's a free eagle. So it's the Finnish sea eagle. That's from actually where my grandfather is from, the west part of Finland. That's also quite a remote place from an island. A beautiful man found it. And that was really about being in the pure divine masculine and precision. And when you want to just straighten up things, cut the bullshit, we need to ask the eagle for that. Yeah. Comparing it to other eagles. So this was really the feather of a free eagle, which is so important because we have the blood of the one that's been in prison or in captivity, and the other ones I don't know so much about. And then there was as well two other ones that have to do like with the young maiden energy. If we think about the archetypes, the young girl, the birch, which is, very much about thinking about people in the past and, dwelling on your hips in a way that, you are like, oh, when I lived back in Africa, I remember my friends from there, and not being in the here and now, but being in your memories. I've given it to some ladies, who have come, for example, from Russia to Finland, and they miss Russia so much and they just can't live here. And a lot of urinary things. As we know, Birch is such a diuretic. And then the young maiden, like purity. In Finland, when it's midsummer, we put birches everywhere for a celebration of the green of the new summer. And we also, in the sauna, we hit ourselves with these
Oh,
birches
is it
to,
there?
take away negative energy, mosquito bites and things like that. And then one more was there, which is the twin flower, which really surprised us That's like a really Finnish flower. It looks like pulsatilla, but it's a really small. It's got two pink flowers. It's the Linnea borealis, which interestingly, borealis means the Nordic light, northern lights. And that taught us very much about the thin line bit in life. It's really thin. And when that line ends, it's time to go.
Mm.
And we were really surprised because these two twin flowers, we were like, what's going to come out from there? And they are known for being delicate and sensitive and beautiful. Of course, the idea of twins as well. But then there was this thing about us passing by and it's time to go and giving like messages from that in a different way than the owl. This was more like delicate. And then playfulness, this young girl energy like in the
Mm.
pulsatilla. So it could be a remedy used instead of pulsatilla for some things.
I remember you putting the images up on the screen in Bali, and with that twin flower, it's got the little
Yeah,
stalk. It's so fine. And then this beautiful little flower. You almost can't believe that little stalk can hold that flower up. It's really pretty.
exactly. And then thinking that, let's say, half a year Finland is under snow, that how is it ever possible that these flowers have to grow? They have to grow so fast. And for example, up north in the Sami land, the summer is about 3 to 4 months. And all of these things have to grow in all of
Mm.
that time. So you can imagine how much energy they have, and they grow under the midnight sun. So they just full on grow. It's a very expansive energy until the winter comes and they have to die again. So
Mm.
they are survivals, really
Mm.
survivors.
We kind of have the opposite here in Australia. It's here in Perth, everything just dies in the summer. And so we've just started spring. We've just had these beautiful wildflowers pop up everywhere and it's so much color, but it's only about 3 weeks
Oh,
and then they all disappear again because it's all like it burns from the heat. And then I was just going to say a remedy that we sometimes use here in Australia is Lac macrocarpus giganticus, which is made from the milk of a kangaroo for people who have trouble settling in
oh,
Australia. I've used that a couple of times. It's great. Yeah.
wow.
The reason I
Right.
wanted to get Reita on today, and actually before I say this, I have a confession to make. I sometimes listen to your Instagram lives of you speaking in Finnish, even though I don't understand a word because I cannot get enough of your gorgeous accent. I can just listen to your like like that Viking accent. I just my husband and I obsessively watched Vikings at one stage, and you just sound, you sound so much like them. I love that accent. It's just gorgeous. So I don't understand a word you're saying, but I listen to you on Instagram just even when you're talking in Finnish. So I was just going to say that part of the reason I wanted to get you on today is, and I've talked about this on the podcast a couple of times as well. So, the regular listeners will know about what's happening with the royalty remedies that we're doing. But there's this thing that's been happening for a while, which I'm always trying to look at what's happening around me and is there a better way that we can do things? And one of them is that when people like yourself who spend countless hours creating incredible remedies for us to use. And then these are often handed over to the pharmacies, and you don't see a cent of that. And we are
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to change that. And I was thinking, this is a little bit of Cloudberry energy, isn't it? The healed sisterhood, like creating wealth together and working together, and there's abundance. And I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So, we are going to be here at Eugenie Kruger Homeopathy, stocking all these beautiful remedies that Reita has made, with royalty payments being paid to her for every remedy that we sell. And we're doing the same with the Nita Apoline, Paul Terrio. Therese Cosgrove has just sent her yin yang remedy to us. Ambika Waters is going to send some remedies to us, and Eileen Noman is going to send some remedies to us.
Beautiful.
Um, and so we're really excited because the reality is it's very easy with e-commerce website to pull a report every 3 months, see how much you've sold of something, and send that person 10% of what it is that you've sold. It's not hard. And I'm hoping that by us challenging the status quo, creating this abundance together, it's a win. Our
Yeah.
clients get access to beautiful remedies. You get your royalty payment. Our business gets to keep going, and my staff get to keep a job. I just think it's so beautiful. And these remedies are available for anyone to purchase, homeopaths
Yes.
and the general public. But you are going to go into some real in-depth juiciness in your membership and also your sacred source school. So do you maybe want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. A year ago, I created in Homeopathy School Helsinki this Tuesday container because I've always loved in our school to bring all the contemporary, everything new from the world, because I'm curious to learn myself as well. So I started inviting people. We had some in Finnish and then most of them were in English. So we had things like Mary Magdalene, the sister wound, and then all kinds of materia medica. Then we had social media, then we had 3 principles and so on. So this autumn we continued, and I thought, let's make it a membership. It actually came from one of the students who graduated. Could we have a membership? Because usually one session is 45 euros. It's 2 hours, either the recording or whether you are on Zoom. And now I thought, okay, we have it twice a month. So then 59 euros is a good price. You get both of them. We'll send all the details to you. And who we are having now, I just posted them on my website. So the next one is going to be Sara Valentini talking about healing of complex children. And for Australian people, it is also lovely because it's going to be at 12 o'clock. It's a good time for you as well. And we do try to change the times a little bit so that we have listeners also from Australia or the US. And after that, we are going to have Denita Apolline, also from Golden Spiral School, talking about sacred geometry, about the flower of life, and also about the golden spiral, which are remedies sold in your apothecary. So
Yes.
that's lovely. And then we have Antoinette McQueenie from Ireland is going to be talking about perimenopause. And then we have Ren Lloyd is going to talk about the polyfungi, all the problems with the mold and things like that. And then the last issue or the last session for this autumn is going to be these in-depth, these shamanistic remedies of the Arctic. So I'll be teaching that. And then I've also already asked Jeremy Sher for springtime so that he'll be talking about his new discoveries about the organon, and many others are coming, definitely. You can also ask me who to hear. And they are more like lectures. Anybody can join. It's mostly, of course, for homeopaths or homeopathic students, but they are more like lectures. So we go in 2 hours in depth into their medicine that they want to spread to the world. And then we have Sacred Source School, which is separate, which has been brewing here with the Owls, with Janie Lavelle. And we have our first offering coming 11/11. And that will be a really juicy Dia de los Muertos, Samhain, how to build your altar at home. And this will be definitely an altar for November, for your ancestors, with all the feathers, definitely, because, all the birds, and just step by step how to build an altar. And it will be 2 hours with the recording, naturally. So if you cannot join, and we have a link for that, you can follow us on Sacred Source School on Instagram, and there's a link to purchase that. And we're just lovely. Be very happy to see you there as well.
That's going to be absolutely beautiful. I love learning from people who have been there and done that and have experience. And so that's why I really love learning from you and Janie as well. And if you're building an altar is anything like the magic you created in Bali with the cacao ceremony, I mean, nobody had any idea what we were in for with the magic that you and Janie created. I mean, the organizing committee was like, hey, Janie, Reeta, can you guys do a cacao ceremony? But literally, there's no way we ever could have anticipated the alchemy that went into creating that. And it's because I think of the women's circles that you ladies have hosted, and because you've been walking this path for so many years and living and breathing, what do you even call it? The alchemy of what it is that the two of you do. The intention that went into the cacao, the way it was created, the way it was sourced, the way it was made, then the circle itself, the way that you held space, and the beautiful altar that you had there at the ceremony. I think that is really what set the scene for this to have been the most incredible conference. I mean, when people like Hilary Dorian and Declan Hammond with 40 years of experience tell you it's the best conference they've ever been to, and like, what do you say about that? All I can say is that the location was great, but the magic and the intention that the two of you set with that ceremony and the space that you held, I would say, I reckon at least 90% of the success of the conference, like setting the scene. So for you to then use that knowledge and transfer it to others and teach them how to create that magic at home, that sacredness, that special space in your home, I think that's beautiful. And I think with our busy lives, and I'll use myself here as an example, although I actually feel like a changed person after Bali, I'm taking much more time to just take it all in and go a little bit slower. My kiddies go to a Steiner school, and there's so much intention with Steiner. They celebrate everything in such a beautiful way. And I feel I don't have that in my life. Like I just go, although, like I said, it's definitely different after Bali. So to teach people to create this sacred space and have time for themselves, I think if more of us can do that, is so healing.
It is. And you're definitely invited. This is a gift for you to our
Oh,
11:11.
oh, I'm not going to be asked twice. I'm just, yes, I am there. Thank you. You didn't
And
mention, can you tell us? We'll probably do it at the end, but so Sacred
yes,
Source School is something different to what you're doing for the membership, which is something different to the
yes,
school.
yes. So Homeopathy School Helsinki is a school that I've been running now or participating in soon, 20 years. So that's like to graduate as a trained homeopath. It's a 2-year program at the moment. And we are starting a group in English as well. So more about that later. But so far it's in Finnish, except the Tuesday containers are open and our seminars. Like, for example, we have Ian Watson coming to
Oh,
Finland, but you
is
can
he
also
actually
join us.
physically going to
He
Finland?
is physically
Oh,
coming. He is one of my
amazing.
first, I've been working with him for nearly 20 years. First with homeopathy, then we did Hakomi together, and then we went into 3 principles. So he's one of my oldest 3 principles teacher because I also did the facilitator course. And it's like I haven't seen him for like 7 years. And now the circle is closing that he's coming, and we are so happy about that. So then you can join those, or you can buy the recordings, whatever, at homeopathyschool.fi. We'll post that up. So that's separate. And then the Sacred Source School came from our mysterious and magical alchemical hearts. There will be homeopathy as well in it, but it will be everything else. Janie being a Reiki master, I'm a shiatsu therapist. Sufism, all the alchemy we do, we'll definitely do remedies together, but you don't need to be a homeopath to join. It will be for women in the beginning, and we start with offerings, but we will be doing a 1-year program that is going like starting on Samhain and going that we celebrate every single festival that there is. I love the Steiner because they do celebrate all the different, the springs and the different seasons. And they do have altars there as well. So that's also for you like a way to open up that door that when it's spring, you bring things from the spring energy.
Mm, mm,
And of course, now people who are living in the southern hemisphere, our offering is for the dead because we are in the northern and it's Samhain. But of course, then you can think of it the other way around that, okay, for you, it's actually the beginning of the new.
mm. So
You can
Selwyn, is that
always.
autumn?
Samhain is autumn. It's the Dia de los Muertos is the Mexican Day of the Dead. So that's like the 2nd or 3rd of November. So we will be like when everything dies and we're ready to let go, and it's got to do with the bones and the ancestors and things. So that's our first offering.
Beautiful.
But for example, at my home, I have a Dia de los Muertos altar. I made it first to have my son at home after he passed away. And it's always colorful with flowers, with lights, with incense. And of course, everybody who has passed before me, my grandparents are there, and there is symbols of my friends that have passed. And it's a celebration of the dead every day in my home.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
As well as the living, of course.
Oh,
We are living
beautiful.
together.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, you had whispers before of a book, and I was saying to you, we're going
Yes.
to mention it on the podcast so that we can all push you along and make sure that you actually do it about the remedies that you mentioned before. But you're probably
Yes.
are you adding some other bits and pieces in there as well, or what's the idea behind it?
Since I've been gathering the Finnish remedies or the remedies of the Arctic, Finland is Arctic, even though the people up north might say the south is not Arctic, but we are actually. Since we've been doing quite a few of them, I want to put everything in a book. And I have a beautiful student who said she'd like to do it as her thesis to translate something. And earlier we've translated the miasms of Ian Watson, for example, into Finnish. I said, let's translate into English so that these remedies can talk to so many people. So we
Wow.
will be, and I think she'll be graduating around August next year. So this is a project that will take time. I'm also bringing the Finnish goddesses in because the offering of many of them is one of the remedies I've made. Like the Guardian of the North, her offering is the eagle that we've made and the Cloudberry as well. So we're going to really let it sit into the Finnish mythology as well, the Kalevala, and bringing the women that have not been talked about so much, and the queen goddess of Finland, whose
Wow.
remedy is Aquamarina artica, by the way. So we will start with mythology, go into this magical, and it will be beautifully laid out, like a very artistic, like the whole book will be a transmission of all these remedies. And I just want to put it out there that we need to publish it, we need to print it. If anybody is in love with the Nordic nature or Arctic nature, wants to be a part of this, you're also free to fund it. We are still looking for all of these practicalities, but now we are working on the translations at the moment.
Amazing. And how lucky are your students to be able to be
Yeah,
involved in a project like that? Like translating Ian Watson's miasms, that would
yeah,
have been a project. It's a great, I really love that book of his. He has a
yeah.
way of like simplifying things, like making difficult topics very understandable. It's actually quite amazing. But what an amazing project that your student is doing with this book as well, and yourself. So could we do a GoFundMe, or would it be
We
best
could,
like a crowdsourcing type
we
thing?
could. I was thinking
Yeah.
about that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you're doing the
Love
thing
that.
with, publishing a book, not that I would know because I've been saying I'm going to do one for 4 years and I still haven't. But if you're having like a beautiful artwork, what I know that you're intending on doing, that's really where the cost comes in with a book. And
Yeah,
especially if you want to publish it in beautiful quality paper, quality color, and really,
yeah,
like you say, make it a transmission. It's something that's
yeah.
going to, it's going to be pricey. So it would be amazing to have that funding.
And I know some projects where people order the books beforehand and things
Mm,
like that. So, I'll have to look into it because my brother actually did a similar project, an art project, and it went really well.
mm.
So,
Well, hopefully
yeah,
somebody listening to this will reach out to you and, make the magic happen.
exactly.
Yeah, you never know who's listening. You never know who's up for being a bit philanthropic and helping out. And yeah, I mean,
Lovely. And like the remedies want to come out into the world. I mean, they are speaking because it's like many people say that the light comes from the north. So the light in these remedies wants to bring all the wisdom and all the healing. And that's why it's so beautiful that you have them now. Because for me to send them to Australia or New Zealand is really challenging. And everybody who is listening, just enjoy them and let me know how they are working on you when you get them from Eugenie.
amazing. I can't wait to play around with them. I started seeing a homeopath a little while before Bali. And so I'm on a
Yeah,
remedy with her at the moment. So I don't want to mess around with it too much. So I
yeah,
haven't started taking them yet. But
yeah.
I'll wait another couple of months and then I'll say to her, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a break in my prescription so I can play around with remedies
I
myself
know.
because it gets a little bit tricky. I think I usually can discern what remedy's doing what, but I want to be respectful of her because I don't like it when somebody messes around too much with my prescription. So I'm
Yeah,
trying
of
to stick
course.
to how she's prescribed it for me, but it's hard for us homeopaths seeing another homeopath. And I didn't see, homeopaths for consultations for 10 years. And then I saw somebody really beautiful last year or the year before, but also as part of my wanting to learn, I thought, oh, I'll go see somebody else as well to see how they work. And it's kind of like
It
for me, it
really
was
is.
also actually professional development as well, going and seeing, like, forcing myself to go and see somebody to talk about what's happening in my life because it's really important for us to heal as well. And I definitely found that with Bali. I think the
Yeah.
thing that I got out of that is the healers being healed. Like
Yes.
it was supposed to be like a conference, but it ended up being a healing retreat, which I don't think any
I
of
mean,
us
surely
expected.
it was healing retreat. That's the word. Because
Yeah.
I've also been to so many homeopathic conferences and we've organized so many in Finland. They're always healing, but this was to another extent.
Mm.
Like when I go to shiatsu camps or Sufi camps, this was similar because the spirit was healed and the heart was healed and there was so much oxytocin and we all fell in love with each other. And then we worked with the constellations and with the Bali Lotus, which was an amazing remedy that I've already
Mm.
used with many clients.
For anyone watching on our Rumble channel, these are the beautiful coconut bowls that we had, and that Reeta and Janie served our beautiful cacao in. So nice.
Beautiful.
Oh, Reeta, what do we still need to cover? Have we covered everything? We covered your. the Homeopathy School Helsinki, the Sacred Source, the membership, the royalty remedies, your book. Anything else that you want to say, just because we've still got time?
I think I would like to give my thanks to the conference, the Unleashing Homeopathy in Bali. It was such an honor to be a part of it, and the fact that it's going to be already next year, I'm like already counting the days in a way. And I have a few students that really want to come. They were going to go somewhere else, but they said no. When I heard your stories, they're definitely coming to Bali. We are just waiting for the time when the tickets are going to be sold and the places and so on.
I'm a little bit worried. I think we might not have any tickets to sell because everyone that was there wants to come again, which I like, and part of me goes, we should give other people a chance to go as well. But at the same time, like once you've been there, you don't want to miss out.
You don't
And
want to miss it.
it's a
Exactly.
tricky one. I don't know how
Yes.
we're going to do it anyway. We've got our committee meeting soon, so I think we'll nut it out then on
But
how best to do it.
what a positive problem. I mean,
Very positive problem.
there hasn't been a homeopathic seminar arranged like you guys did it. So please take credit for that, because I've seen so many seminars in these 20 years, and the amount of love and the fact that you can rely on anyone and you can just grab anyone and just hug them and feel the oxytocin and the appreciation. I think it was like, I wouldn't say a rock concert, but in a way, everybody who went on stage, everybody was like, yeah. And we kept on just talking about the same things. It was like...
It was, but honestly, I'm not like trying to deflect your beautiful compliment that you've just given, but really, I think the cacao ceremony set us up, like that 2 hours of sacredness right at the start. That kind of set the scene for the whole conference. And it would have been good to have a parallel universe and have a conference without that. And I can promise you it wouldn't have had the same impact. And that's where that reverence, that sacredness, having that altar, creating that space is so precious. And I love that you're going to teach others to do that as well. And I cannot wait to see you there on the 11th of the 11th. And I love that date.
Exactly. And working with a big body of work, like, for example, having a school. We don't have so many students. We have 30 to 40 students, and then I have my own masterclass. But even holding space for 30 to 40 students is a big container. And I've done an astrological chart for my school separately. So when I serve it, I serve the school. And I have a big altar at the school. And the bigger my project grows, the bigger the altar grows, because actually the altar is carrying my work. I don't need to carry it in my body. The female body can just expand to a certain limit. So this is one of the ways that I work, because I have this divine purpose and passion where I look at the charts, I look at the life purposes of people, but I also look at their companies. I can do a chart for them together to understand why it is the body of medicine that they are bringing to the world, but also how to best support. And it usually starts with building an altar, having ceremonies, and looking at certain offerings that help them. And in the end, what is so beautiful, you only need to show up yourself. It's all done. All done. Everything is done in this world. And that's what makes it everything so cozy and, meaningful. When you connect to this like Mama Earth energies.
Absolutely. Like I said, I don't know what voodoo stuff you guys put in the cacao that we were drinking, but that was some good shit.
That was really good shit. And cacao also helps you incarnate. It was very intentional that we chose cacao, especially that Janie chose it because she's a cacao master. And at our school, we also did a remedy of the ceremonial cacao. So I knew the energy of it as well. And then I know that it helps people incarnate. So a new project to incarnate, use cacao. So there were like many layers that had to do with us, had to do with energies, had to do with you guys. So I think the stars were just fully aligned to support this project. And it was meant to be. It was divine timing for that.
It really was. I won't lie. I'm almost scared to do it a second time because I don't feel that there's any way that we could ever have anything as good as that. But then at the same time, I also trust, and I know it'll be something different. I don't think it's possible to repeat what happened there in Bali.
No,
but it'll be, we'll build on that. We'll build on that. Homeopathy has been unleashed. I think all of us have been unleashed because ever since then, everyone's had all sorts of amazing projects and things. And it was a week after coming back from Bali that I decided my family and I are going caravanning around Australia for 6 months.
That has been my dream. And when I saw that you're doing that, I was just like, I wish I could come and babysit your donkeys.
It's been my dream for years. It's been my dream. I never,
Lovely.
ever thought it would be possible. And then I'm like, hang on, I've got an amazing clinic manager. My kids are a great age. Like, we can do this. I can do my consults on the road. There's no reason why we can't do this. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this. And then, you know what it's like when you make these decisions and everything just falls into place. And then we bought a caravan from an amazing lady who used to rent a room here that gave us a really good price. And I'm just going to do my consults along the road and get to meet clients that I've previously had consults with online, get to meet them. Some of my clients I've treated online for years. I get to meet them in person for the first time. So really excited
You really
about
should
that.
have stickers on the sides that when you're coming, you're like on a road trip.
I was going to call it EK around Oz. And then,
Yes,
although
yes.
it's not technically not around, we're going to go south, up, and then come down again. I'm not going to go right around, but we'll see. No, time might change. Anyway.
What are you going to do? Are you going to be recording the podcast or will you have a break?
No, I'll keep recording the podcast because it's something I love so
Lovely.
much. Like I just want
Of
to
course.
keep
And you
going.
should. I was going to say that I'm sure you'll find a space and have a recording studio there.
Definitely. I just got this kick-ass mic now, which actually is really heavy. So I'm not sure if I'll take this long or just like use just headphones, but all these tiny little things that will work out along the way, which
they
is all
will all
good.
work out. How beautiful.
It
That's
makes
gonna
me
be
feel
lovely.
so much better knowing that I get to see you again in August in Bali. So this is not goodbye. It's just like farewell for now. And I'm sure I'll have you on the podcast again soon, but I'll see you either way for our Rebels chat very soon with the other ladies. And I'll see you on the 11th of the 11th at Sacred Source School.
Welcome. Thank you so much. Have a
Such a
beautiful
pleasure.
rest of the week. Love
Love you
you.
lots.
Bye-bye.
Bye.